how many states are we helping families in right now? Name them. I'll name them. Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Ohio, Illinois, North Carolina, Florida, and Puerto Rico, right? Did I miss anything?
Nope, you got them all.
Which precipitated our original name was Keystone Alliance Mortgage, and it didn't translate to other states outside of Pennsylvania. So we just recently changed to Collab Lending. Talk about how you came up with that name, if you want to.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Definitely need to start kind of talking about the direction. So one of Megan's ideas was like, I'm going to do a podcast with or without you. And I was like, okay, I will. I was like, I'll do it with you. She's always pulling me out of my comfort zone. And we decided to call that thing that we were, I don't know. We really didn't know what we were building at the moment. We called this thing Collab Life. And so it was like a website with like, you know, things that Megan and I would speak about. And then it was like a little bit about a podcast. And so then when it came time to kind of change, you know, names because we were heading in a different direction, when it came full circle to what I'll let Megan talk about our new adventure that she also pulled me into. But when it came time to rebrand, we wanted everything to make sense, everything to be under one umbrella and be, like you said, Keystone just kind of wasn't making sense anymore. Before it was Keystone Alliance Mortgage because Keystone, obviously the Keystone State, and then Megan and I also came up with Alliance because it just fit who we were. We were very much an alliance. And so at the time we were like Keystone Alliance Mortgage, that's perfect. But now that Megan had another business idea, we needed something to kind of tie everything together, which it was the podcast of like the Collab Life, plus like this website that we had, plus like, you know, Megan does speaking. And so it was like this whole thing. And we were trying to figure out how to tie it in together, including our new name. And that's where we came up with Collab Lending. And Collab really stands for collaboration. And then we just thought, you know, we're working in the lab, or, you know, you guys can come into the lab and work, or whatever it may be. And that's where Collab Lending came from. And I think that day that we came up with the name, we like made sure the website was available and like all of the social media handles were available. And like, literally it was like that day, like, okay, it's available. Like, let's just lock it down. Because we had been working on something else as well, which we're rolling out with. And I'll let Megan talk about that part of, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So before we get to that, I'm going to push back a little bit because it's not just Megan that's speaking. Like, you're speaking, you're out there, you're out in the scene. And yeah. So don't be modest around me. I'm going to call you on that. And also I love it because besides the collaboration that goes on within our company, because I do think we do collaborate a lot, and it's not like an employee-employer, it's a collaboration, and you guys make it so.
And let me ask you this, because I'm going to turn around on you, BA.
Yeah.
For anyone, for whoever listens, is that normal in our industry?
No, it isn't. Like I said, I've been in the industry 18 years. This is my 19th. 2 of them have been with a depository institution, a bank. 12 of them were correspondent, which is a amalgam of a bank and a broker. And I did 2 as a broker before I became a broker with you guys. And you know, I've seen it all. I've worked for so many companies, and I guess at my age, it's really quality of life. And I want to be in a culture where, you know, family gets thrown around a lot, but it really does have to be a family. And besides the collaboration within the company, I think we collaborate with our clients too. We have conversations. We don't tell them what to do. We give them options and advise them, and then let them make the decision. So I love the name collaboration. I love the colors. I love the branding. But this is definitely a unique experience. And I get, you know, there's no, as we said at the top, nobody's jumping into the business. So there's always people recruiting. And I get offers, you know, for, hey, you can get this many, I can increase your commission, so on and so forth. but it just falls on deaf ears because my life experience tells me I'm where I should be because of the collaborative culture that we've created, the diverse culture. And I also like, helping the younger loan officers with my knowledge, who some of them are kicking my butt. But the exciting thing is now you guys are doing something that I just think is brilliant. And Megan, I'm going to let you expound on it because we have this family and you don't want it to get too big. You've kind of come up with a solution to that. So talk about the new venture that you're getting into that I'm excited to be a part of and helping you grow.
Yeah. So, without digging into, we all throughout our careers have difficult situations we go through, right? Maybe not a place where it's not your favorite place to work. When I fell in love with mortgages, I just, like Dre said, I fell in love with helping someone and helping them figure out how to get into a house. But what I didn't fall in love with was during my first 5, 6, 7 years, like I was an athlete on a team. Like I truly love working together with people. And I will never forget when I became a loan officer, I turned to another loan officer in my office and I asked the loan officer, I'm like, hey, I want to understand this type of loan. Can you give me the bank rep that works at the bank who does these? And I remember this loan officer literally looking at me and saying, that's my account rep. You need to find your own. And I was like, what? Like I couldn't even fathom that the conversation just happened, but it happened and it was acceptable. And the company I worked at my first 7 years also, I don't think we ever had a single meeting with all 12 to 15 of us in one room. It just was so opposite of how I had just gotten through college and high school, like on teams and helping people no matter who they were.
Right.
And I was so young that I'm like, okay, maybe this is what the business world is. And like you said, people always throw around like work family or team. And that's when I started really realizing like there's a really big difference between teamwork and collaboration, because people can work on the same teams with people, but not treat each other the right way or work together in the right ways, even with clients, right? And that's where collaboration became so important to us, because collaboration is like truly working together and putting other people first. And so, and when we came back and we're like, what are we going to build now? How are we going to do this? I knew we wanted to do things that collaborated with other people. And I just did not have any idea how. Dre and I honestly couldn't figure it out. But the one thing I did know from sports, from business, is if you take action and just keep moving forward, things will start coming together. And that's exactly what happened. We didn't think we wanted it to be in mortgages because we knew we wanted to change it. And we ended up interviewing someone who reached out to us. And this person was a franchise broker, which I truly a year ago didn't know I didn't truly understand what a franchise was. I don't know if people listening know what a franchise is. I think of McDonald's, I think of Chick-fil-A, right? But I didn't truly understand it. And we had at this point with the podcast, we realized that there were a lot of loan officers that were afraid to become a broker because there's nothing out there. There's no courses. There's nothing that teaches you. Like everyone can teach you how to sell, like to get more loan, how do you talk to more customers to help them? But there's a lot more to that. You can be a great loan officer, but if you don't build a strong business foundation, you will fail and it's miserable. And I went through many years because of that loan officer I told you about and other situations. I would go on vacation and I'd get out of the car every year, almost just crying because I just was like heartsick about something that had happened because the industry just was so the opposite of like where my values were. And